Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. Today I, Bancroft, being joined once again by Jake and Jimmy.
What's going on, y'all?
You did Jake first?
Yeah, Fluff's not here. We've been over this before. If Fluff's not here, I do you last.
I guess. I mean, I saved the best for last, I guess.
We got Jimmy and Jake today, guys.
Keep the first intro.
Okay, fair enough. But we have another matchup for you all today. It is Jimmy taking his take on the starter deck Vegeta, while I'm bringing pure AOD to our locals this week. And with that being said, keep in mind there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them. They're there for a reason. Let's get into this.
Yeah. So, Bancroft, you decided to bring pure AOD because you're unoriginal and can't think of anything new, so you have to play the deck that you know you're well at. And I'm out here, just throwing caution to the wind. I'm playing a pure starter deck. I didn't even add any cards to this. I just ripped the starter deck out of the box. Ignore the promo that I just put in my energy.
To say what now?
Just took two starter decks, slammed them together. I'm playing a 100-card deck. And then Bancroft just shows up with AOD. It's a little disappointing. I wish Bancroft would really step up his game.
Yeah. The deck I've been playing since set 6, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
so,
exactly what I'm saying.
Let's talk about your starter deck that draws a lot then first.
All right. So I played like exclusively Mecha Gabora for a long time, and I really wanted to play something else. And I decided that I played Invoker, which is a deck that I had a lot of fun with in the past, but I wanted to play something new. And this starter deck, like, when I first looked at it, didn't really stand out to me. And it wasn't until I played against somebody playing this list at Gen Con, or a very similar list at Gen Con, that I was like, this deck is really, really dope. And it can do some really cool things. So I decided to build it. And it kind of runs multiple... I looked at a lot of different lists, and I kind of just took my favorite parts of each list and put it into this particular deck. The Bardock Crew variant is very popular, and I think it's probably better than my list, but I really enjoy the more mid-rangey game that this deck can play. So it runs the Skillless Draw engine with the Gohan, as well as the Android 18 Universe 7 Challenger, and then it plays like the ghetto arrival cards, as we've been calling them at the shop, that when you have the two cards in your combo area, you can slam these other guys out, which we'll see later in the game. So, Bancroft, talk about that Bojack in your energy, specifically the winner art.
The promo one? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a really good tech option in my opinion. So if your leader card is Bojack Brigade or Agent of Destructions in its card's name, when you come up with this card, you could pay 1 at the end of a combo to play it in rest mode. It has a permanent where your opponent's battle cards cannot attack your leader if their energy cost is greater than or equal to your current energy. And when the card is KO'd, you draw 1 extra card. So it pretty much replaces itself, which is pretty nice in the long run. But it also slows your opponent's attacks, and they have to get rid of that card first with their higher level cards.
It's a 20k, right?
15.
Yeah, 15.
Like most AOD cards are 15, I think. But that permanent is just an amazing thing. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need multiple of these. And it worked out for Fluff, who plays the Bojack Brigade stuff occasionally too.
Yeah, when you slam that in your energy, I was just like, a weight was lifted off of my shoulders, because while a lot of my cards are very low to the ground, I want to put the 4-drop Divine Presence Goku out as fast as possible, which is turn 3. And if you slam that, the turn that I play that, it basically kills my momentum going into the next defensive turn and my next offensive turn. So seeing that hit the energy was actually a big weight off of my shoulders.
I do want to go over it real quick before we go too far. Both the leader and the strike back extra card can take a life if you wanted to. I chose not to the first turn. And I think I chose to do it during my second turn, though. Just for clarification for those of you who happen to see me take a life during my turn and not my first turn. You can choose to do it because it says up to. Jimmy, why did you choose not to awaken on your second turn out of curiosity?
So I actually tend to like holding my awaken in this deck, surprisingly enough. Where I've seen some more aggressive builds that want to just flip as fast as possible so they can start getting double strike on their unison. But I found that I want the unison to be more of a red herring. So you spent your entire turn 2 dealing with the Piccolo unison, which is kind of a smart play because all your Ks and you want to counter. I believe it's the Garlic Jr. that's in play. Is a fantastic counter because it puts 2 cards into play, but Piccolo will remove at least one of them. So it's valuable to you, but it's also valuable to me that was an entire turn not pressuring my life. And like I said, I want the unison to usually be a red herring, and for power play turns like this where I awaken, untap the 2 energy, and then have another ghetto arrival to put out.
Yeah, that was good. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, so that's a huge value play because I was able to neg out your Lord Slug super combo, put a 20k body and then a body that becomes a 30k dual attacker that adds a skill list to my hand to draw me extra cards later off of the 1-drop Gohan.
And clarification, the first neg came from your Unison's +1 ability.
Yes. The Gohan only negs 10, but the Kaba Unison also negs 10. But I want to talk about this Ultimate Essence Goku, and I think this card is probably one of my favorite cards out of Cross Spirits. Just due to it's both deflect and also has the permanent that during your turn it cannot be removed from your battle area by skills. So a lot of decks will be able to get around deflect, like Charismatic Villain's able to get around it and KO it. Cards that will warp it, whatever. But this Goku, you have to deal with it. Like, if it's coming out, and you have to deal with it by either negating its attacks, comboing out of it, or if you're red, you have to neg it out, which is difficult because it's a 30k. If you're yellow, you have to find a way to tap it down without using a counterplay. But pretty much you have to use a Bardock Ape to combo to tap it down when it restands.
Or like a Champa the Trickster. Or
Champa the Trickster.
But all those solutions are kind of wonky, and this card can be really difficult to deal with if you're on the receiving end of it. I actually really undervalued this card, and I realized that the more I play with the cards in both Cross Spirits and Supreme Rivalry, I really like the way that those two sets particularly are designed.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I just like because this format is so play and respond with stuff like Samasu the Eliminator, the various counterplays that are really popular right now. To have a card that basically is immune outside of very specific matchups or very specific answers is really, really strong, and it feels good to play. And you can see by what I'm setting on right now. I'm setting going into turn 3 against AOD completely tapped out, and I feel safe in this matchup. Just due to knowing that whatever I do on my turn, you really can't respond to it.
So I had to swing of the leader first to get a card to play for 1 energy before I even awaken, because I don't, like most people, I don't like wasting energy on awakening.
Yeah, you want to get full value.
Yeah.
So conveniently enough, there was a 2-drop for me to grab, and Garlic Jr. plays another card. Now granted, skills are negated, but having 2 battle cards for 1 energy to swing at you is a phenomenal thing.
Mm-hmm. And that Lord Slug is such a deterrent to do any sort of counterplay, which my deck's not very counterplay heavy. But just being able to snatch a super combo like that is huge as well.
Oh, yeah.
And if I remember correctly, he is just a 0 plus 10k, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so he's good at any point in the game. So that's huge, being able to rip something like that. And here comes that Broly card that I so fucking hate.
A lot of people do. Like pretty much
It's
so much.
really good for its energy cost.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I actually do this wrong. I need to change it. Unless I'm incorrect on this particular ruling. It says up to 3. Save, keep 1 in your hand. Can I look 1, look 2, then look 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I need to start doing it that way instead, because like I've burned so many good cards because I just pick all 3 up right away.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really important for playing King Cold as well. When you play a new ruler, to look at your cards one at a time, so you don't send super combos to the bottom of your deck or something.
Because I remember you picked up the 3 and you went like, you were just like staring at your hand. You're like, damn, dude, like I don't want to put any of these in the drop area.
I can't remember what's under it. Yeah, it was the Bardock. I want to say one was God's. I think I kept God's Ceiling, but I think it was Bardock and Sitsubin that I put in my drop.
Yeah, it was something of that nature. It was 2 very good cards. Or it was the Turles, you mean?
Yeah, Turtle. I keep saying Bardock because I mean he kind of looks like. No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, they're close enough. They all look like Goku.
He looks like he could be in Goku's family.
But he's not, which is so weird. And
Oh, you mean that's Cousin Turles?
So here in this particular deck, I can't remember what channel it was off my head, but I don't normally look at a lot of profiles. I like to just build my own and go from there. But I saw someone had made an AOD deck, and they incorporated the blue Majin Buu, and I was like, I didn't even think about that right away, because I'm just so used to going the green one, Vegeta, and just clearing the board, 25 double strike crit, which is an amazing card in itself. But I was like, tacking this in isn't bad at all. So I play a 3-2 ratio. I play 3 Majin Buu, 2 Vegetas, and being able to restand a blue energy with this card and having a blocker and the -1 effect, I think is such a good choice because it allows you to, if you're not comfortable, like if I would have played the Vegeta, you probably could have survived that with no cards on your board, but then you would have had 4 energy to crack back at me with no open energy and 3 life.
It is easily my favorite unison in the game.
Yeah.
Unison is nuts. And I actually had forgotten that you could play that in this list. And when you put it on the board, like I was jokingly like, hey, you gonna drop one and blow up my field? And to be honest, I expected that when you started tap 3, I was expecting to see the Majin Vegeta. I was like, damn, that's a huge play. Like the double strike crit off of that would have been huge. But still, the Buu is nuts because now I'm having to play around that -1. This pretty much for the rest of the game because he comes in with 3 markers, but still, that's all Buu needs is 3 markers. So I played the 3-drop Whis from the Unison expansion set. I don't remember exactly which one it was. But it's the one that had the Vegeta leader that you can neg it and it gets like value off of that. But the Whis is just a straight up worse version of the 1-drop Gohan. Because it just searches top 5 for a U7 4 less or a specified 2-cost Unison. But it doesn't get the auto to draw a card when you combo with the Skillless. Which sucks because you normally always want to put the Gohan on the field no matter what. Even if you already have one, even though it's a limit 1, now your opponent has to remove 2 of them to get rid of your draw engine. But since I need the consistency, I decided to run the Whis just to be able to draw into my U7s a little bit faster, which 90% of this deck is U7 cards. And here I believe I'm debating on comboing the Fairweather Fiend Frieza, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I knew you already had countered that turn, so I was thinking like, it's probably not really worth playing it, but I just wanted that double strike pressure on you as well. And the worst you could do is -1 on the Majin Buu Unison,
It's just a great example of with Fairweather Fiend. It's just a great example of one of those cards that didn't see like hardly any play when it very first came out. Like there was some experimentation with it in Invoker, but now with this new U7 package from Cross Spirits, it's finally got a more applicable home.
Oh, for sure. And if I remember correctly, Bancroft does some dirty shit with this.
Look, you swing, I say no negate, and I don't activate any of my Unison autos. And you're like, what?
Yeah, I was like, why are you not minusing one, bro? And this has happened every single time I've played this card. Is right here. A motherfucker just goes, I'm gonna tap one and I'm gonna slam Heroine's Lineage on you. And it has happened every single time that I played this card that at this point, I'm just playing this card just to get their secret rare out of their hand. Like, I don't even care anymore if this card gets stolen, but I was like, bro, like, seriously, dude? You don't have enough cards on your field?
Oh, so side note, right there, I actually had realized. I mean, I hadn't even activated the unison stuff. Like I forgot about the -1 actually in that moment. Yeah. I just called it out to you, I think.
Yeah, I remember you said you forgot the -1, even though I was playing around that -1 the entire turn. Because I dropped the Whis because I was trying to dig for another 4-drop Goku. So that you couldn't remove it with Boo.
Yeah.
And you would have to deal with another case of that card just being insanely powerful, just due to its permanent. But I wasn't able to rip that, and I ended up actually pulling the 18 off of it, and I was hoping to draw into the Goku off both the skillless draw with Gohan and then the 18 draw with the skillless in the combo area. But was not lucky enough to draw into my next Goku, which I ran that at a 4 of, and I've had a lot of issues with consistency on that card, which is my only complaint with this deck.
How do you like that Gohan that's in your battle area? I've seen people locally experimenting with that card a lot.
I actually like it quite a bit because it's a decent defensive tool as well, because it negs a card by 10. And you're already comboing up out of an attack, so he's basically just a 1-cost 10k combo that puts a body on field. If you think of it like that, so it's just fantastic. It reminds me a lot of like Double Shot Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta.
I was just about to say that.
So like, it's a really solid card.
In case he was curious, I did not neg your active battle card. I'm trying to think why I didn't do that, but I think because you already activated its auto, so you're not gonna get any more draws off it. I had a wide enough board where it didn't really matter if you comboed it off anyways. I felt like I think that's the reason why I didn't neg it off, but I really should have, because it's an extra combo piece for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I mean, you got rid of a threat. Which you didn't know what I had in my hand. I had 1 energy open, and Red has a pretty good defensive tools to deal with wide boards like this. So getting rid of the offensive tool that if I were to survive this turn is probably a smart idea, because +5 combo is probably less valuable than assurance.
Yeah. And I just saw your hand, and that is rough to go up against this type of deck because all my cards are under 20, pretty much. Mm-hmm. I saw the Violent Ray, yeah.
Yeah. So Violent Ray is only really good against the Broly and then the Bojack, and I think the Android 13 is also a 20k. So Violent Ray would be fantastic if you had more than just the Broly and Bojack on field, and also for this Bardock. But other than that, the King Vegeta's Imposing Presence is my main get-out-of-jail-free card, but you were still just slamming cards and comboing up because you had a fat hand as well. But to me, it was a win-win because you're sending a lot of cards from your hand into the drop area pretty much.
And you were defending a lot more successfully than I expected.
Which I forgot that Frieza's Death Ball was only for the turn, or for the battle, because I was just like, oh, I'll just slam Frieza's Death Ball, and then you were like, it's for the battle, right? And I'm like, oh shit, right. And like, so, yeah, but I do end up comboing that off, but I think in the long run, it doesn't really do much because you got everything good out of my hand. Because if I remember correctly, I have a Choppa in hand and then one other card. I don't exactly remember what it is. I have Heartfelt Plea, I think. And I was just like, you just had to turn one more card sideways and it was game.
And since being really helped out a lot to resend that third energy, so I can activate the leader's bottom effect to play the units with 3 markers.
Oh,
Just having access to that many different colors of cards is so powerful.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's why I've always enjoyed the AOD deck, and I'm glad that when last year's anniversary box came out, it just made it felt whole finally. And the small amount of cards they've added since then has been really nice too. So, but
yeah, I would really like to see a that Majin Buu secret rare become more of a part of the deck than it is.
I want it to so bad, but the problem is that it has to play the Bobbity from your drop, and if your opponent can counterplay that Bobbity. Now, depending on what they counterplay it with, does vary. Because you play the Bobbity from your drop, then you play the secret on top of that. Now, if they were to play a card that negs, it won't kill it because the rolling where the card coming on top of it will get the negged in. But if they counterplay it where it doesn't even get touched the board, like trunks it or move it to the drop or something like that, then you can't play your card.
Yeah.
But with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed today's video. And keep in mind, there's buttons down below and on the screen currently while we... Jimmy, you want to do it? Or Jake, someone?
Oh, the fluff out thing?
Yeah. There's buttons on the screen, I guess. There's other videos that Jimmy, Bancroft, and Fluff and I are in. And other people at locals too. If you hit the thumbs down, hit it 4 times in a circle. Oh, we haven't done that in years, man.
Yeah, do the burns when you pee thing.
Fluff out.
Pee.